Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the latest Gehenna Gaming interview. Joining us tonight is Josephine McAdam, actress, martial artist, musician, and gamer. Most of you know her as Eva from LAbyNight, as well as a regular in many Geek and Sundry streams, including, let me see, Shield of Tomorrow, 10 Candles, Kids on Bikes. I'm probably forgetting some, as well as your own Twitch channel, where she regularly hosts Tea Time, which we are both drinking tea, so that's appropriate,
Yes,
and
of course.
variety gaming streams. You can find Josephine online on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram at JCVIM. So thank you for joining us tonight.
Such a good intro. You're so good at this.
Practice.
You're better than I am at promoting myself.
I will happily write you hype notes and
Oh,
you just send them
fantastic.
over and you can use them for
Yeah,
future stream.
love it.
So I will ask immediately, what kind of tea are you drinking?
Oh, right now I'm doing an Earl Grey. Earl Grey is kind of like my go-to midday. I literally drink tea from morning to night, so
That's
there's
yeah.
never an ending time. Actually, I'm really bad about drinking water. I'm constantly drinking tea.
Well, as long as it's not caffeinated tea, it's hydrating, but it's probably mostly caffeinated tea if it's Earl Grey.
It's mostly caffeinated tea, although I heard that that's a myth.
I think yeah, I've heard that caffeinated tea is fine. It's really just coffee
Yeah, which
that
I don't drink, so you know what?
you are.
So hydrated.
There you go, constantly hydrated. Awesome. So, like I said, thank you for joining us. I know you are busy. You have looks like you've had a crazy convention schedule, as well
Yeah,
as
I don't know why this year it just, conventions popping off.
that's great. People get to hang out with you. You get to travel because you will be at
Yeah.
PAX East next week, which is very exciting because so
Yes,
will I.
I know, when you said next week, I was like, "Oh,
Yeah, no,
yes, you're right.
I
It's
had
next week."
I had that conversation today at work. I was like, oh Lord, that's next week. I have vacation time, right? Yes, okay, I put that in. Good. Um, and you were at PAX South recently, I believe, as well.
Yes, yeah, it's been really wonderful. I actually went to for both PAX conventions, I've had media badges through my Twitch streaming just, on my own channel, which is really nice, and we just use it as an excuse to, go take a trip to a con that we would love to go to anyway.
Awesome. That's the way to do it. We are obviously, for those who don't know, Gehenna Gaming is running Vampire the Masquerade 5th Edition games and Call of Cthulhu games at PAX East. So if you're going and want to play in either of those, let us know. We will be running it all 4 days, all day. And then we're
Woohoo!
hosting an after party at a local gaming pub. Yeah, Sunday 6 to 10. I'm blanking. Wow, I've had a long day. 6 to 10. So if you're not coming but you're in the Boston area, you can also come and hang out with us there.
Perfect. I will definitely try to swing by some of the games for
Excellent.
sure.
I hope you get a chance. And if I remember correctly, you have people coming with you as well.
Oh my gosh, so many of us are going to PAX East. It's gonna be a really fun time. Alex Ward and Xander and Erica and I are all going.
Oh, Erica's
Bonnie is
coming
also
too.
Bonnie Gordon. Yeah, yeah. We're all gonna be there.
Awesome. Exciting.
Well, not everyone, but it's still a pretty big group considering we just happened to find out, we're like, "Oh, are you going?" "Oh, yeah, me too." Just, worked out really well.
Fantastic. Well, it'll be really exciting to get a chance to meet all of you, hopefully. And
Yes,
also,
you will.
great. Actually, just so you know, and all of the viewers as well, Gehenna Gaming is also hosting a horror game tabletop gaming panel on Thursday.
Ooh.
We
Oh, man, we fly I think most of us fly in on the Thursday.
it's in the afternoon. In the afternoon.
Oh, man, I can't imagine us getting in the after how because it's a pretty long flight from LA.
Oh yeah, I believe it. I've done that to I've done the flight to San Francisco, so I believe it.
And not just that, it's also 3 hours later, so
Yep. Yep. Well, we look forward to seeing you either way.
Yes, I know, I wish we could make that, but I think we will not arrive in time. But I do plan to be there at least the Friday and Saturday of PAX East. I'm not sure about Sunday yet. We'll see, maybe. maybe maybe I'll just, like, be so in love with it that I need to go back a 3rd day, or I'll be exhausted and be okay with 2 days.
I have done that. I'm a little skeptical about the 4-day myself. This will be my first 4-day
Yeah.
convention, and I'm working it, so
Yeah, well, that makes sense. Yeah, I've never done a full 4 days because that sounds like a lot.
we'll see.
I'm
We'll
sure
find
it'll be
out.
great.
Yeah, it will.
And then
It'll be
I'll
fun.
I'll also be going to Gen Con for the first time this year, which I'm super, super hyped for.
Me too. First time.
Yes. I mean, my parents got tickets, and I was like, "What? You
Oh.
I've I've always wanted to go to this con, and I would feel very slighted if somehow my parents went before I did. I don't know."
I
I
would
said
very much feel the same way, actually. I'd be like,
yeah, so I was
"What?
like
What?"
I said, "Hold on. I'm getting a ticket, and I assume you'll get a hotel. You'll probably get a nicer one than I would have. I will crash wherever there is space in that room."
Well, see, now that's just convenient.
It is, it is.
Nice. So, to move to the point of tonight's interview, we do have questions. I promise. We're just not gonna bullshit about conventions. Folks, I'm
Well,
sure want to hear some interesting questions. Hopefully, they're interesting. Um, how did you get into tabletop gaming originally?
well, you know, I was ragging on my parents just now, but they are amazing and they are gamers themselves. I started playing D&D when I was about 5 or 6 years old
Hmm.
because my dad would DM my brother and I growing up, and it was just the best experience you could ever have of a DM is your dad who just wants you to have an amazing experience and time and wants to challenge you, but not too much, wants you to feel like fulfillment and like learn puzzle solving skills. And it was great. It was the best thing ever. I love D&D, and I feel like I went in and out of being able to convince people to play with me or not. And I always tried to get like throughout school. I think it was for my 16th or my 18th birthday? Mm, one or the other, where my request from all my friends is that they come over and that we play D&D. That
Right.
was the one thing I wanted them all to try it.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so my parents and, um, it was D&D first, and then later on, I think when I was in middle school or high school, I was just getting into just all sorts of other board games, Settlers of Catan, and then
Yep.
outwards from there.
Yep. So obviously the first game you played was D&D. Did you play Vampire before you joined LA by Night?
No. I hadn't, but you know what? I have so many books. All of those books I had was before LAbyNight. Um, my fiance's cousins, we would always go down to Houston and play like Arkham Horror
Mhm.
or anything that was like had this eldritch horror sort of we like darker themes in games that we play in general. And so his cousin actually gave us all of his old vampire books once, and he was like, "I think you guys would love this game." And we were like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, whatever." Like when someone tells you
Yeah.
tells you you would like something, you're like, "Yeah, sure, sure." And that box, like, sat for years until LAbyNight, essentially. And then I finally opened it and I was like, "Oh, man, this is so cool." I just started flipping through all the different, clan books, and I've got, like, the 1st and 2nd and 3rd. I've got, like, 3 of the, like, core rule books
Hmm.
from the very early editions, and,
Nice.
as you may have seen, I think I may have started looking at those before I even had the V5 one, if that, influences any, reasoning for why Eva is the way she is.
I can see that with some of the Levin Bolt,
Mhm. Well, you
etc.
can't read some of those and then, like, go away from it. I was like, "What?
But I could
But
lightning
that's so
bolts.
cool."
I my one of my so personally, I actually story told Vampire from 1999 till recently. Well, I still run it, and I didn't play it until
Mhm.
2017.
Oh, wow.
So one of the first characters I ever played was actually a Tremere. And I was like,
Very
oh,
nice.
there's a lot of paths here. I don't care about Path of Blood. I'm going to go Neptune's Might.
Yeah.
This is amazing. I can just touch people
Yeah.
and turn their blood into water. What?
Yeah. No, I know there's so many cool paths, and for me, so as an actor, like, stepping into Eva, I felt like it gave me so much more range because, um, it's interesting because some people are like, "Oh, she's like." I've seen, like, a baby amount of comments about, like, power gaming, which is something that, like,
Mm,
I don't I don't actually think I think Tremere OP
yeah, definitely.
to begin with. I don't think I had a choice in that, but, like, every single decision, the thing that I loved about seeing all the different paths and the branches and whatever else in the Tremere is that I could make choices that were more reflective of the character
Right.
and more of her personality traits and things that she loves, like, the I was always going to have her have abilities that had to do with nature. I was really torn between, um, what is it? There's one, the green one with all of the
Oh, Nature's Path.
there's a plant one.
And you can make plants attack people.
Yes, yes, but it's very much like you have to be outside, so and we're actually rarely outside.
Very accurate. Usually in
I was like,
Victor's
it's not
Club.
gonna come up a lot. Yeah. So, and she's very in tune with nature and loves the rain and loves thunderstorms, because of when she was embraced. So it made sense. It was like all character choices.
Awesome.
Everything has been like very specific to that, which is fun because I feel like I'm able to do that. I'm not limited.
Yeah,
Jason has been very great about not limiting what I could choose from.
that's awesome. So I'm gonna. I know for our viewers, I always prepare questions and give them to the interviewee so that they can let me know if there's something they don't want to talk about. And I'm just gonna let you know I'm gonna jump order because you sparked something. I'm gonna jump like halfway down my list
Yeah,
now.
do it.
So to that point, most of our viewers probably know you as Eva, where you play a Tremere on LAbyNight. But you've also
Mhm.
played a Giovanni on Long Beach by Night, B Dave's game over on Q Times,
Yes.
and you also played a Toreador in your charity one shot,
Oh my god.
and also cameoed as a crazy Ventru a little bit. Um, so I have to ask, what is your favorite clan, and why is it Tremere?
It's 100% Tremere. Um, and I don't know, maybe it's part of that, it's the first clan that I got to play and really explore and give such a rich and crazy backstory. Like, I've just spent the most time with Eva
Mhm.
and, um it's really easy to make a real fucked up story. Sorry, I don't know if I can swear, but
You can absolutely fucking swear.
great, fantastic. Like with the Tremere themselves, it's like, oh my god, there's so much here that is so messed up. I have so much to work with. Although similarly, I was extremely excited about the Giovanni because of that reason too.
Yep.
I was like, oh damn, this is so messed up. But the one thing with Long Beach at first when I was approached was supposed to be just a single season limited run, like and in fact, just 4 episodes at first.
Right. Right.
And so I made a character that I did not want to inhabit for more than that amount of time.
Right.
She really is messed up, and I don't know how much of that was we got to unearth in that time, but I when they asked me about Long Beach, I was watching the show Mindhunters,
So, yeah.
and so I built her off and around Charles Manson,
Nice.
and it's just, like, a great, like, actor's playground, but also it's not somewhere I just wanna live for fun for more than a month.
Very short periods of time. Yeah, I feel that.
Yes,
I
exactly. So, I was like, "I'm good."
Yep.
She is what she is, and she can go do whatever you want with her.
Now she's off in the wind,
Yes, yes.
which is
But I don't know, that I'm happy playing any clan for me, even when I've played D&D, my favorite thing is to take a class or a clan or whatever else that is typically played
Mhm.
this way or that, and just completely throwing all of that out the window, so I don't
Yeah.
think it would necessarily make a difference to me what clan like, I'll see if it sparks an idea
Mhm.
in me, but usually inspired by either I'm watching a show or something else, sort of speaks to me, and I'm like, "Oh, let me explore a character, for that." Like, I had I have an idea for my next either a Toreador or maybe a Malkavian that is a country singer vampire who just sings all about the woes of being in the world of darkness and how their sire left them and
I like it.
all of these things. So that's the next opportunity I get, that's the one.
I love it. No, that's great. So I was literally going to ask you what clan you haven't tried that you really want to play.
Mm. Yeah, I feel like Malkavian would be a fun one to explore.
They're a
I don't
good
know
one.
if yeah, I don't know if that would be the one that I would make Malkavian or not. But I would love to play a Malkavian. Any of them, I don't know. Any I would say the one I'm least interested in is Ventrue, and I don't know if that's my character bias speaking.
We won't tell B Dave.
Even though I love watching Ventrue characters, and, like, Jason Carl is an absolute Ventrue, but,
Oh
like,
yeah.
I don't think that's what I wanna play.
It's funny, I actually I never wanted to play one either, and then I was playing in a game where a lot of the players were playing they're either very young or very chaotic brash characters. And I need to play a leader. I need to play like someone who can wrangle all the cats. So I
Yeah.
ended up making like a very emotionally dead elder Ventrue and it, but I just got to be a
You
giant
mean just a
jerk.
Ventrue, right?
Yeah, more or less. But also he was like a 16th century Russian warlord who is just completely literally like dead inside beyond most kindred. He staked one of his own
Yeah.
coterie members because he was annoying him.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Ventrue are awesome. I think I would probably be upset at how easy it would be for me to step into a Ventrue role.
That's a good
I don't think it would be difficult for me.
that's fair. Um you mentioned earlier that sorry, one of my friends is making fun of me. Um
Yes, I see that.
these are people who played in that game with me. Um
Mhm.
you mentioned playing really characters that have a lot of opportunity to be very messed up. Are you familiar with the Bloodline Bali? They are demon worshipping vampires.
Yes.
I
It sounds so familiar.
I ask because they're one of my favorites.
Well, I'll have to check it. Are they the ones that eat their chowder?
No, those are the
Is that Bahari? I don't
there's
even know.
there's a
There's so
lot that do
many.
that. No, Bali are they worship elder gods actually. Like the lore says
Oh.
they worship demons, quote unquote, but it's actually like beings from another dimension, and
Oh, I
they
could definitely fuck with that.
oh yeah, they're amazing. They're basically the anti kindred, and they just want to bring about the end of the world.
Oh, I'm sorry. I know exactly what I would wanna play if I could, it's just that it's not a clan right now, is that I'm obsessed with the Salubri, and I know it's weird because I'm playing a Tremere. But I am obsessed with the Salubri, like, you don't even understand that there was a point where I asked Jason after I started where I was like, "Can I somehow be a Salubri?" And he was like, "What? No." Like, I it's like, "Please, I love them so much."
Oh my god, yes. That's
And then
amazing.
I was really sad when I learned about them.
Yeah. There's only 7 of them. And those are the ones
Mhm.
they eat their sires.
Yep, yep.
They're also the anti so the Bali are the opposite clan of the Salubri. So the in the lore, I don't know if you stop me if you're familiar.
No, no.
They're actually the Bali and the Salubri have the same original sire, and then they split off from each other. So and they're like polar opposites.
Oh, perfect.
Exactly.
I'm glad that that's what I told you then.
No,
I
that's perfect. It's perfect.
I really love them. I There's stuff, like even with the headdress that Eva wears, I like to
Hmm.
pretend it's like a third eye.
And that's a flaw that Tremere can have in older
What?
editions
Oh,
because they so they can
because
actually
yes.
they can manifest a third eye when they're doing things, and it's like, oh, we need to hide that.
Uh,
Well, I
uh,
look forward to you playing a Salubri at some point in the future,
Someday.
and me
Yeah,
sitting here plotting your character's demise in my head.
sure. That's fair.
So, um, that said, you joined LAbyNight in season 2.
Yes.
Uh, was your introduction at Play Eva, who had already been NPC'd by Jason Carl, meant
Mhm.
to be a one-off appearance, or was it meant for you to permanently portray her on the show from that point on?
Well, let's see, when they bring in actors, it is to, like, you are now the actor for that character.
Okay.
I don't know that she was supposed to show up more, though. Um, there's always the risk of, like, oh, I don't know how they're gonna play them, and if it's,
Hmm.
the direction we wanna go, and if there's relevance to the character coming back, and, I had let me see, I had watched all of LAbyNight before they asked me.
Hmm.
And I remember when Jason described Eva, I was, like, sitting on the I remember it so specifically, I was sitting on the couch on my phone, my fiancé was working on his computer, and he says she's, uh, extremely pale with her hair almost as pale as her skin, and I was like, I could do that. I could play her." I turned and, like, yelled that at Michael, and then I'm not kidding. I had mentioned to them, weeks before, I love the show, and if there's ever an opportunity to be involved, I would love that. But uh, but other than that, I hadn't messaged them. And then the very next day, the producer messaged me saying like, "Hey, we want you to come in to meet about playing a character on LA by Night." And I was like, "Who is it?" It was like a typo, and it was like it's like Ebba or whatever. I was like, "What? Who?" They're like the witch. I was like, "Yes."
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was very excited. But yeah, it was definitely just this one episode, We didn't have any plans beyond that.
One. Let me just make sure the cat doesn't
Look at that.
knock all of my
Look at that
stuff
kitten.
all over the place. That's actually his name. So,
What, kitten?
yes, his name is Kits or Kitten.
Aw.
Okay, settle. Good. Awesome. All right. There. Now my mic's just higher. That's fine. I can live with that. So, uh, it, to that end, then, were you, and you kind of already answered this, but were you handed a lot of the foundation for the character, or was it like, okay, we gave the very, very, very basics here, you create her
Yeah, I had no character sheet, so,
now? Mm-hmm.
for I didn't have a character sheet until
Season 3, right?
yeah. Yes.
It was basically,
I Yeah, because you remember me coming in and asking questions about making
can I, you were like, can I roll? And Jason was like, I'll roll for you.
Yes, yes. Um, when I went in, the first meeting, Jason just sort of gave me a vibe of just like he said she's very calm, ethereal, and the words were just it was Vampire Galadriel.
Mm,
And then he let me run crazy from there, do
nice.
whatever I wanted, which was really great. I came back like the next day with like paragraphs written. I was like, what about this and this? And what about this backstory? And can I tie in this person? And like, um, and was like, yeah, sure. I had never thought of that, whatever else. I just went, I just did a deep dive, and I was, like, reading all of the wikis and trying to get
Hmm.
as much information as I could because I hadn't, played Bloodlines yet either, so I didn't know, like, any of the
Oh.
characters. So I was trying to piece together what I could, based off information I could find online.
So was the tie-in between you and Strauss a later idea?
Um, no, I think I had that idea right at the beginning. It really got fleshed out as we went. I think I just, like, you look up, like, Tremere
Yeah, no,
in
that's it's
LA, like
L.A. Tremere Strauss, angry, angry
Yeah.
evil face.
Yeah, I don't remember why, but and I knew that she was, I'm gonna give information that I gave out at on Outstar's charity stream because it's just information about, like, when Eva was embraced.
Hmm.
I just thought it would be I imagined her he had given me a range of, like, "Oh, she was probably changed in the '60s or '70s," and I was like, "Okay, well, let me pinpoint that down." I was like, "Oh, well, what if she was changed at Woodstock, and what if she was, like, part of that entire, generation, and, she was in the Peace Corps beforehand," and just,
Yep, yep.
and it fit so much, and, like, her character just, like, immediately took hold from there, and it's just, like, it's so easy to see where she, like, got her foundations of I could see her protesting the war and, like, whatever the hell else, just it was very easy to develop her from there, and then to be put into a chantry in the Tremere system is just, like, the last thing that
Mm.
you would wanna put someone like that
Right.
in. So it was a lot of fun, and then the drugs thing came, like, very quickly after that.
Well, yeah, Woodstock. That's the thing that
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah, and I thought it was fun. I was like, "Oh, can vampires" I remember when I asked Jason, it's like, can vampires get high?" And he was like, "What?" "Y
Yes.
yes."
You're like, good, 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 good.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, no, and then, I think I really developed even more of her backstory just for this latest season.
Fantastic.
Like, I sat down, wrote, like, 2,000 words for Jason. The problem with, being turned, like, in '69 is then I did, like, a whole timeline of, like, every
Right.
5-year chunk, and I was like, "Oh my god,
Mm.
thank god she's not older."
As someone who has written backstories for characters embraced in the 1400s.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Yeah, I can't even
Pages.
imagine. I was like, "Oh,
Pages.
this is already a lot." But then almost I was like, if it was hundreds of years, then I would sort of do a summation, but
Hmm.
because it's only, like, it's like, oh, I feel like I really need to figure out what the last 20, 25 years are they're gonna be relevant.
Right.
Anyway,
Yep.
yeah, it was great. They just let me do it. I would, run everything by Jason for approval, and he was really wonderful and open to everything I brought, so
Uh, and I don't know if you can speak to this fully, but had were other actors who came on who create NPCs that were maybe played more extensively by Jason before they came on, were they given the same opportunities?
I'm sure they were. I don't know if anyone had time nor the levels of enthusiasm that I, like, poured into
Hmm.
sending him paragraphs of stuff just as a guest actor being brought on for something. I was like, "Oh, what about this and this and that?" I was just really into it.
Of course.
And I know some people have as well, and he, definitely lets them explore and build out a backstory for themselves. But whether or not that comes up in the time that you're on, is never guaranteed. Which with definitely the first few times I was on as Eva, I was given um pages, basically like 3 to 5 pages of just Tremere lore and things for me to be able to pull from because I didn't know myself, and then just a smattering of, like, random powers There were no stats, there's nothing, it was just, like, a list of powers, I had no idea how to use them. I was just guessing based off the names, I was like, "That, you know, essence of air seems like something you would do to fly," but and I'm sure you can really tell when you look back at the early ones, but it's very much that's what most of the guests you get, like, printouts, you get emails ahead of time. Jason does a really great job, letting you all the information you might need,
Hmm.
and then we sort of help steer the story a little bit for the main players, or just provide information. We're a living NPC, right?
Right.
We're the question mark that they can come, find out more information from. But then after the first two times, I came on twice, and then after that, I stopped getting briefings.
They're like, "Hey, you're part of the cast now."
And I was like, "Oh, man, okay."
So, was that planned, or was it kind of sprung? Like, did you know that they were going to bring you on to be a regular, more of a series regular versus guest appearance?
No, I didn't know until, like, right beforehand. I could probably even find the email. It was, um, da, 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 LA by night core cast. Okay, this is so I found out November.
Nice.
November 29th. Yep. And I was so excited.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, but otherwise, I didn't know, and I was very, very excited, and, even when I did get I wasn't given briefings after the first 2 episodes, but I still had, like, an inside scoop, like, I was talking with the storyteller and sort of making sure that everything was going in the direction that he approved of, because I was still an NPC,
Right.
um, and I was using abilities that, I wanted to make sure were specific to the scenario, or whatever else, especially for the epilogue for season 2.
Yep.
Um, so and then season 3 is where he it was completely hands off. I, like, lost any inside scoops that I had before, and was just given free rein, and that was really cool. And then at the end of season 3, where I show up a lot more, I think was mainly because Erica wasn't available
Mm,
at those times. She was super busy,
right.
and so it just so happened, and it was a lot of fun, and I'm really happy, to be more of a part of it now.
Very exciting. It, you have Eva is definitely a fan favorite. The cast, just from everything you see on the internet. Eh, And most recently, season 4, your first episode for season 4, you
Mhm.
showcased a bit of a major change character. Um, and I won't spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it. But can we expect more surprises and changes
Yes.
in how you play her this season?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, excellent. Um, so I guess beyond, so obviously, as I mentioned earlier, beyond LA by Night, you've been on a variety of uh, playing kids on bikes, 10 Candles. Do we have any
Mhm.
other games that you'll be appearing in Horizon?
Yes, I'm not sure how much I can it's very early stages, but,
Mm,
there's another sort of limited run RPG game that is being organized with a lot of folks from the LAbyNight crew, actually, a
goodness.
lot of familiar faces
That's always exciting.
that hopefully will be sometime in March, but that's still it's still coming together, but there will be another RPG there happening, and otherwise, more on the film side, I'll have, I think, a couple horror anthologies coming out this year, like Scare Package and the Mortuary Collection. Somehow I find myself in a lot of horror. It's not on purpose, actually. Um, and, another one that was just, I saw the director posting about it today. It's the same director that I did Tower with, which was about the UT Tower shooting, and it's an
Hmm.
amazing film. I say that completely unbiased, I promise, but, like, it's a very good it's a very beautifully well-made film. Um, so he made another one that's called Dear Mr. Brody that I'm also in, and I haven't seen it, and I think it'll be coming out at some point this year.
Stick.
Yeah.
Um, couple more questions about your gaming history, I guess. What is your favorite character that you played?
Oh. Oof.
You're allowed to say Eva.
I know, I just feel like it's such a I wanna give people something else. It is Eva, like, I am absolutely in love with the character of Eva and getting to explore that, but, I mean, I've enjoyed so many of the characters that I've gotten to play. Um, I had in a D&D home game, I play I played a cleric. I forg I forget who she worships because she also had, like, this double life. She worshiped the trickery domain, and she had a double life, an underground life known as Snake Eyes, where she'd go around these gambling rings and just, like, lose all of her money. She had a name. She looked completely different, um, and she would always leave the party saying that she was gonna go feed the children, help the poor. And she was very, very saintly, like, she was always "Praise be, oh, everyone is so sweet," like, she was very soft-spoken and so pious, and then she would come back sometimes with, like, black eyes. She would never have any money, and she'd be like, "Oh, I just give away all my money," but she was just, like, legitimately not
A
doing
gambling
that at
addict
all.
who was
Yeah,
terrible at
just
gambling.
gambling it all away. Yeah, yeah. It was, she was a lot of fun, and they all just trusted her so, so much. Immediately trusted her. I was like,
Right.
"Okay." And so I actually love making characters like that. I think a lot of people do. I like playing with people's perceptions where they see a petite female and they're like, "Oh, yeah, of course we trust you." And I'm like, "Okay."
It's the best red herring. Um, to that end, actually, I just noticed someone's in chat, and I have to call them out. We have one of our community members who wanted me to say that they love you, and you've met them. They were actually cosplaying Eva at Gen Con last year.
Wait, but I met them?
Yes, you did. Not you. Jason met them, and then we
Yes,
we shared
yes.
photos. That's what it was.
Yes, I was gonna say, I was like, I don't think
Because
I've had
This
the
is your first Gen Con.
pleasure,
Yep.
but I hope they'll be at Gen Con again. I'm so
They will.
that
They'll be
Oh,
there with us.
wonderful. Oh, wonderful. I my biggest well, they are part of my biggest reason for going to Gen Con this year then because when I saw the cosplayers, I was like, I cannot not go to this con. Like, it's just like a dream come true to have anyone wanna cosplay a character that I've played. Like, it was mind-boggling, and I was just so excited. I was showing my parents, I showed everyone your cosplay, by the way. I
Exactly.
was like, "Look at this!"
So,
So I love it. Thank you.
I did notice a couple questions pop in the chat, and I wanted to ask one in particular because it was amusing. Uh, does Eva have a history with nines?
God damn. They will not let this go.
I apparently, I didn't know this was a thing, but apparently it's a thing.
Oh, man. Okay, they're asking about a romantic history to which I am,
Indeed.
like, going uh, they they have known each other in the past. She's been in LA for, like, I don't know, I have to look at the timeline, but 30 to 40 years. She's been there for a while.
Hmm.
So she definitely knew him and has known him. Um
People are saying
Oh my
gnome.
gosh. I know, I see it. They're making me shake my head. Um, uh, no, there's no history. You know what? I wouldn't even tell you if there was, though.
It's that would be spoilers.
You get that they know each other. I am, y'all always make me blush. I'm like, "Why are you asking me these questions?" Because the thing is, I think Nines is super cute.
Oh,
Josephine's.
well, yeah, he is. I mean, come on.
So I'm like, I mean, I wouldn't be against it, but no, y'all are too much. My god. I That's something I had to figure out this season when they're like, "You're gonna come on, more, regularly." And I said, "Well, okay, so technically Eva's been around for a while, so I need to really figure out what these who she knows here and who she doesn't know and
Mhm.
all of that."
People are very adamant about
I
this.
know. Yeah.
So, um, beyond gaming, really, like as I mentioned earlier, you're a musician, an actress. We talked a little bit about your films, but I wanted to touch on you're a longtime pianist. And
Yes.
how did you get your start in music?
Oh, same way most kids do, our parents make us do it.
Yep.
Um, yeah, no, I started playing when I was 5 years old, and my I wanted to quit all the time.
Hmm.
And then my mom said, "No." She never let me quit. Um, and which I'm very thankful for now. And now I just play for my enjoyment. It's not like I was never pursuing, to like play piano professionally or like in concerts or anything like that. But it's nice. I did finally I stopped taking lessons when I was about 16 after getting really frustrated with a teacher, but I didn't stop playing. I just played on my own at home and I would just sight read. And the other thing is that I moved a lot growing up, and I think it must have been like an integral point in my brain development or something. But the names for the notes, like quarter notes and all of that jazz, is different in the UK
Hmm.
than it is here, and it really messed me up, so I don't know what the names of the notes are.
Oh, that's weird.
It is weird. I know that, like, this one's 4 times as fast as this one, or this one is held for 1.5 times as much as this one, but I don't know
So
what they are.
what are they called in the UK?
It's like quavers and semi-quavers. It's, like, completely different.
Oh, that's weird. So I'm trying to wrap my head around. So I
No,
also
I
used
know,
to play
it's
piano, and I'm
confusing.
like, I don't know how I would I don't know how I would. That would drive me
Yeah, I
crazy.
mean, I know, like, C, D, E, F, G. I know, like, the actual keys, but I don't know that that particular note is called a quarter note or an eighth note. Like, I know those are the names, but I don't know which one's which.
Do they still use all of the Latin for like legato or for like legato, legato,
Yeah, I
and
believe so. Those
staccato?
are the same.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Akiakatora. I always remember those because
Yeah.
it's a weird name. Um,
Well, that's
but yeah.
I learned something today. I will remember that for music trivia.
Yeah, but I love playing. I'm really glad my mom never let me quit because now I can just, I mainly sight read it, which is a good and bad thing because I'll sit down and play whatever I can. I'll just flip through pages, and it does make me a little lazy because I don't like stop and really properly learn pieces.
Yep.
Um, because I can't just play like, expert pieces. It's sight reading, like that's not gonna happen. Um But there are certain songs that I know, like, Michael he likes hearing me play, and then he's like, "Well, why don't you just learn that one?" Because 'Cause I'm like, I keep messing up," and then he's like, "Well, yeah, because you only ever just sit down and play."
Yep.
Because it's just nice, it's just relaxing. It really is just a really great escape for me.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Something really calming with piano music, I think, even to those who aren't playing, just listening to it because I feel like he didn't do this before, but now he'll put on, like, Chopin if it's in, like, a stressful day just to, like, chill out, and I'm like, "Yeah, because Chopin's the bomb."
You're
Like
rubbing off. It's
yeah.
Do you play any other instruments?
No, I would love to learn more. I I started learning violin when I was younger. My parents also had me start with violin, and that would have been so cool, but they couldn't stand listening to the learning phase of bad violin. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's like 3 weeks and they're like, "No."
I could yeah, no. I wouldn't be able to do that.
Yep.
Um so,
It's awful. Yeah, everyone's been there.
that sound is in my head now.
Yeah.
So what inspires you today? I mean, obviously said when you were younger, it was your mom telling you you're not allowed to quit, but and now you've said it's very calm. You mostly play, I know you've played video game music, which is still classical in style, but is it mostly classical
Yeah.
that you play?
Mostly classical, yeah. I'll play classical. I know people enjoy hearing, music from games,
Hmm.
and um, I'll look up. You know, the thing is that it's so much harder to find piano books, like actual music now than it used to be, which I think is really interesting because there's huge music stores in LA, and I thought if anywhere I could go there and have some selection. And even there, like the rack of piano books was, so small, and it was just like beginner's piano.
Huh.
And then there's nothing else. And I was like, well, I love having a whole book. And then I can also look at the music ahead of time, see kind of the difficulty levels and how complex it is. But now I feel like everything is digital and it's per sheet music, it's per like piece as opposed to a collection.
Yep.
And you don't really get to see it ahead of time. And it's it's the like transcriptions can be like shoddy, it's
Yeah.
you never. And so I just try to find whatever I can find for free, like off the different free websites that are around. So I still play, I have classical books that I pull from that, it's always the same.
Hmm. Yep.
um, I love playing classical music, but I also love playing, like Final Fantasy music 'cause it always sounds great on piano.
Yep.
Certain
It's-
things don't sound that good on piano is the thing as well.
no,
Um,
I can't imagine trying to play like go and play Street Fighter music. It doesn't work.
right, right, exactly. And Ryuichi Sakamoto, I really love I haven't been able to find a lot that's in sheet music, but what I have, I really love playing and it's beautiful. Um, yeah, I don't really have a preference. I don't know. There's probably kinds of I love running up and down the piano, like where it's connected as opposed to jumping
Yep.
places. And that's
Hmm.
just because I sight read and I'm not looking at my hands, so jumping's a lot harder if I'm staring at the sheet music.
Hmm.
But
Yep.
I love running up and down and doing trills. It's just always been really fun. Yeah, and piano is the absolutely 100% the reason that I'm was ever any good at Guitar Hero and Rock Band.
I will credit my years learning piano for being decent at Guitar Hero then too. 'Cause
Yeah,
didn't think about that.
absolutely. Yeah, I remember there was like a 12-year-old kid that won like the Guitar Hero championship at one point, and I remember just shouting, "It's because he's a piano player," which he was. He was like a really skilled piano player. It's like, you have to use both hands and
Hmm.
it's a lot more notes than 4
Yep.
anyway.
Yep. That definitely
Great for
makes it a little bit
gaming.
easier.
Eye-hand coordination, like, that's what trained me to be a gamer and get those APM that APM up. 'Cause I the first, like, video game I went to was StarCraft 2, and so I was all about, like, quick,
Oh yeah.
uh, responses.
All that Twitch response and
Mhm, mhm.
uh speaking of video games, you are a variety streamer. You do your tea time, but you also play a lot of different games.
Yeah.
What made you start streaming?
Um, so my good friend, Ryan Day got me into streaming. he started streaming with Felicia Day, his sister, and, I knew him, for years, and it's always such a weird connection, like, my fiance's cousin was roommates with
Yep.
with Felicia in college, and then, then the friend circles met each other, and the our gaming group who would get together, like, every other week to play board games in Austin, was with Ryan, and so we would just get together and we knew each other that way. I didn't know who Felicia was or any of Geek and Sundry, and then they started streaming online at first
Mhm, mhm.
and, made, Team Human, which sort of like and then Geek and Sundry's channel launched, and
Yep.
that was before I moved out to LA. So I would hop on and help out. I remember when they did a huge charity event to launch it, and so I'd help out with modding. And so a lot of my early audience came from just the Geek and Sundry community. And when I moved out there, it was just natural to. I had met Felicia a couple of times at that point, but it was just natural to go out there and have some comfort in knowing some fellow nerds and gamers in LA right after moving. Yeah, so it was great.
What are some of your favorite games?
Final Fantasy X, I love so much. That's what I played when I was, let's see. At first, my brother rented it from Blockbuster,
Oh, man.
and and he got stuck, and I was just, like, in love with it. I was watching him play. I was like, "Here, let me do it," and then I got past it, and then he was just, perturbed because his younger sister had figured it out, and so he just, like, didn't wanna play it again, and I was like, "I'll do it," and then, we had to return it, and we didn't get it again until I think we moved to Scotland. I must have started it for a bit, or no, the PlayStation wouldn't work because we weren't in the US anymore. You have to get a whole new one, like, the games didn't work, like,
Mhm.
and then finally we got a new one when we moved to Germany, and, like, that's where it's so interesting because I know exactly where I was, how I felt in that moment, even though my memory is terrible, but when I finished Final Fantasy X, I was sitting on my bed in my, like, weird ass room that you had to walk through the kitchen to get to in Germany, and I was, like, crying so much. I was, like, 10 years old, and I was just crying playing Final Fantasy X, and it has always stayed with me, and I'll replay it
Mhm.
so many times. I love it so much. That one and Bioshock Infinite, I really, really love.
Oh, nice. I'm actually slowly making my way through the Bioshock series. I never played.
Yes, I heard that the other ones are really good, and I tried to play them, but they were too scary for me.
Which is funny because you were mentioning that you play a lot of horror tabletop
I
games
can't I
and you
can't I
act
can't
in
watch
horror
I
films.
can't watch any horror movies. I can't play any horror games.
Fair enough.
As soon as it's dark in BioShock, 1, and you have to walk if there's a
Yeah,
hallway where there's darkness at the end or around the corner and there's any sort of noise happening, I'm done.
that's yeah, that
I can't do it. I can't do it. And I've there's so much horror in my life. All of my closest friends are involved in horror
right.
and so into it. And I met my fiance working at a haunted house and like
It's different
I
being on the other side of it though.
oh, it's so different being on the other side. And you know what? I think it's just because like I have so much imagination that like my mind goes so many other places.
You
It's
met
so much scarier to me than anyone else.
right. That makes sense, yeah.
Like I don't need to see the movies to have those ideas, and I will be wrecked if I accidentally watch something somehow. It gets in front of me.
My
I'll be messed up for days.
my wife saw the trailer for Paranormal Activity when it came out and just didn't sleep for 3
Mhm.
days.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was
I
like,
was
"Okay."
yeah. Yeah. It's it's terrible. I can't do it. I don't think I have a correct adrenaline response or something. Like it's not a nice feeling. I don't enjoy it whatsoever.
Mhm.
I'm just calm and terrified. And I just like, well, let me get out of this situation that is making me uncomfortable and walk away. And the same with rides, like I can't do roller coasters or anything that
Interesting.
I because I'm just like completely there. There's no fun. And I just I just start crying. It's not fun for anyone else.
No, that would
Oh,
I'd be like, "Oh no, what's wrong?" the entire time.
yeah. My friends watched a playthrough of PT on the laptop in the kitchen, and I just heard it. I could hear it, and I saw glimpses of the corner of the screen, and I was so upset. I saw just one thing, and it was the bloody fridge hanging from the ceiling from chains that they looked at for a moment. That was all it took that I was like, I cannot even be in this room. I'm going to bake brownies right now." I immediately had to, like, do something that would bring me joy.
I am going to bake delicious baked goods and pretend this is not happening anywhere near me.
Yes, yeah, it's the worst. So, yeah, people think I'm kidding, but I really not. I will just immediately start crying with horror. I don't know what happens to me, but
Oh no. I will
but what if I'm in character, it's fine. As soon as I'm in character, in fact, that's how I get past things that I'm scared of. Because I used to get scared in when I would fly on planes too.
Mhm.
But if I just pretended that I was Rey in Star Wars or whatever else, and I'm a fighter pilot or something else, as soon as I put
Interesting.
myself into another character, I don't feel that fear. And when I was in costume in the haunted house, I never had any fear. But once I was out of costume, they couldn't turn the lights off for me. You know, like I needed all the lights on to be able to walk out
Yeah.
from work.
Mhm, mhm.
So I don't know.
Uh, someone named Xanderific
Oh,
asked a
who
question.
is
I don't know.
that?
That's some weirdo.
Just the most amazing human ever. I love Xander so much.
Um, asked what your thoughts on X2 are.
Oh, 10-2.
Yeah, 10-2.
Um, I l I never finished it. Here's the thing. I started it in Europe after I finished 10, and then we moved back to the US, and I could no longer play it on the same device. You don't realize, like, how much has impacted my gaming as a child. Um, I on Fridays on my stream, we play Final Fantasy, and we're currently on
Okay.
9, and we're gonna play 10, and after that, we will play 10 too.
Nice.
I tried to play it, like, a year or so ago on my stream, and I was trying to 100% it so I could get the ending that ties it into Final Fantasy 10,
Yep.
but it was impossible, and then I rage quit. So we're gonna do it, though, and if I don't get it, we'll just look up the ending, it's fine. I
Nice.
won't rage quit this time. But I enjoyed it, but also I was, like, 11 or 12 years old when I started 10 too, so, you know, I don't know. It's not as in-depth. I don't like it as much as 10,
Right.
not nearly as much. I live for every single moment that has a story tie-in to 10 and not so much all the stuff in between, but I still thought it was fun, and I like the costumes
Nice.
and stuff.
Did you start at the beginning of the Final Fantasy series? You started playing through
N
all of them?
no, no. I'm I'm such a graphic snob. Well, I grew up with Final Fantasy X.
Yeah,
It looked great.
that's fair. I say I grew up with the Super Nintendo, so I am used to pixels. It's just
Right. Hmm.
I will recommend if they ever remake it, Final Fantasy 6.
Yeah. I mean, I hear wonderful things about the earlier Final Fantasies, and
Yep.
I believe people, but we played, well, I'm waiting for the 7 remake
Mm, as am I.
'cause we were gonna try it, but I was like, "You're gonna have to remaking it, and I will love the remake." We played 8, we're on 9, and that's where we started with
Nice.
8,
Okay.
basically.
I've heard a lot of people don't like 8. I actually never played it.
Um It was fine. They're all crazy to me. They're all weird, like, completely but that's Final Fantasy, at least in 10 was such a weird story too, so, like, that's just what I associate.
Yeah, 10 is a bonkers.
Yeah, that's what I associate. I'm like, "Yeah, it's Final Fantasy." It's totally insane in the storytelling and, like, where the through lines are. And, like, it's not until the end that you're like, "What?"
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I remember I was watching a friend of mine play it, and I was just like, "What? Why are you playing soccer?" Oh,
Mhm,
okay, okay,
mhm.
that makes sense. And then I'm just like, "Wait, why is the thing that's your dad? What? I
Honestly,
what?"
the cutscene at the beginning of Final Fantasy X hooked me and had me forevermore because of that. I was just like, "Oh, it's just so cool."
Oh man, yeah, but I definitely recommend Final Fantasy VI if they hopefully remake it. It has, in my
Okay.
opinion, it has fantastic music first off. And
Mm.
there's an opera scene which is amazing. So I definitely recommend that. That's the one I grew up playing. That's my favorite. So
Okay,
I'm
yeah.
a little biased. Um,
Of course, yeah.
so we've talked quite a bit actually around your acting career. And now that we've talked about your inability to watch or play horror games or movies, uh, you are an accomplished actress and have appeared in quite a few movies, many of them being horror movies.
Yeah, I
Uh,
know.
I believe most recently you were in a horror anthology film called Scare Package.
Yeah, it hasn't released just yet. It did so that one and the Mortuary Collection, uh, anthology series that I filmed 4, 5 years apart are both coming out at the same time. So it just so happens that it's just like, "Oh, you're in all of this horror." I they are both coming out this year, and all of my friends that know how I am with horror have brought it up. They're like, "How do you keep getting in in all of this?" I was like, "You know what? Maybe I am convincingly scared of stuff in
Yeah,
the auditions
makes
because
sense.
I'm scared of so much." Um, no, I think also, I've done a lot of indie films, and
Right,
horror is a lot, easier of a genre to do on a more limited budget. They
absolutely.
get bought out more easily, and you can sell them easily because people will watch horror of all sorts of budgets. It's just that one genre that can do that for some reason. Um, but because I specifically wanna focus on genre filmmaking anyway, if it was sci-fi and fantasy, or horror as well. But yeah, I just I wanna go to San Diego Comic-Con with a big project. That's my dream.
Well, hopefully that. Um, yeah, because it should. So, when did you realize you wanted to go into acting? Kind of sparked that, as opposed to any of the other
I
things you could have done.
Sure, no, I know. There's no logical explanation, because it was from when I was a kid. My parents said as soon as I was talking, I was in theater and performing and wanting to perform for others and do that, and I'm not really sure why there wasn't an impetus or, like, seeing someone's performance or anything like that. I just always liked maybe it's because we did move a lot when I was younger, and one of the, like, consistent things is that people bond over films and movies and performances, no matter where you are, and you can always get people to smile and laugh or share in an emotion. Like, it connects people across cultures
Right.
when they can empathize with an experience, and so I think that that just speaks a lot to me, and I really love that connection that media has, reaching people without outright saying something. A lot of it's so subliminal, and it's just like
Hmm.
it's through empathy, like, you feel what they're feeling, and all of a sudden you're like, "Oh my gosh." You can learn so much. But yeah, I don't know what it was. There wasn't a thing. At some point, I think my parents wanted me to have a backup plan. I had like a snippet in a little moment in high school where I thought I was either going to be an actor or a doctor. Um, and in my mind, I thought they were very similar. I still think that they're similar. I think that they both save lives in different ways. And I think that like uh entertainment and media and what we consume can also keep people out of hospitals too. Like, it's just I think it's all sort of, for me, it's like in service to an audience and in service to people. It's just a different way of doing that.
Absolutely.
Yep, and I gave up on being a doctor very quickly.
But maybe you will eventually play one on TV.
Yes, maybe so. No, it's not that I didn't it's just I just love acting so much. It's just the
Right.
level of passion there.
Right. Um,
Yeah.
so some people may not know this, but LA by Night is actually not the first vampire-based project that you have worked on. You
Oh my gosh.
you
Yeah.
also were involved with a, I believe, unreleased, currently
Yeah,
indie film
yeah.
called Vampires, spelled with a Y, um, that you began working on in about 2014.
Yes, that sounds about right. It's when we were in Austin. I mean, I've always been super into vampires. I love vampires. Who doesn't?
Vampires.
Um, and my fiance as well, like I said, I met him. He worked at a haunted house, and he's very into horror. Way
Hmm.
knows way more than I do. He does amazing creature design too. He's an illustrator, and so like the two of us, like there was a lot, coming out. It was Twilight, CW show, whatever, these
Okay.
different, versions of vampire that weren't quite, like, hitting this, like they weren't hitting the dark
Hmm.
horror aspect that we associated vampires with, and so we just sort of had a concept that we started talking about, and we had a friend who was a writer at the time who helped us sort of like write out a script. And so we did a short to try and fund some of that. And we raised some money, but it was very early on and really not the right team for it. We still have the idea that we want to develop, and basically it follows the main character as a Dampier, a half vampire.
Hmm.
And it manifests the abilities that she has essentially manifests as her being able to know when a vampire is near and essentially turning into a vampire hunter because of it. Because the vampires in our film were very horrific, terrible, gruesome, murderers. And it basically, connected her to another Dampier who's, like, this older homeless dude who everyone thinks is crazy. Everyone thinks she's crazy because she sees it manifests in the same way that, like, I forget what it was. I think it was in Constantine where just shit starts changing and only she can see it.
Yes. Yep.
That inspires so much, so it'd be like, she may be sitting there and, like, blood starts, like, dripping down, and she knows that there's a vampire somewhere nearby. She has to figure it out, like,
Hmm.
just different things would start affecting the environment around her and had just been, yeah, told she was crazy her whole life, but that was the whole sort of impetus and going from there, and I think we still think about it and talk about it every now and then and wanna do something like that, and Michael's talked about doing, a comic instead, doing like a web comic or something around that story, so
That'd be awesome.
we'll see.
Well, hopefully we get that story in some form of media. Sure.
Yeah.
That'd be great because that is actually a very interesting concept. The way you described it, I have to ask: is that why Eva gets along with Jasper so well?
Wait, what part? What part?
Seeing horrible, gruesome.
Oh my god, no, I don't see Jasper that way.
I'm kidding.
I love
I
Jasper.
do like how every time people talk about him, he's basically like the supermodel Nosferatu because he's like good looking, but a
Yeah,
Nosferatu.
I don't yeah, I don't know, I always like the monsters in stories. I always like sad boys.
that's
Yeah.
that's that's Jasper. That's accurate.
Mhm, mhm.
So, you obviously you spent time between horror films and being afraid, not being able to consume horror media. What draws you to horror tabletop games, horror acting, and these?
Hmm, hmm, what a good question. I don't I'm not sure. I find myself in that. I think I hadn't given it much thought. It's probably I mean, it probably just has to do I it gives me more opportunity to delve into the human psyche and why people do things and why they make the choices that they do. And in horror, you're so often faced with these, life or death decisions or
Absolutely.
moral quandaries that require a lot of analyzation, can be argued this way or that way, and there's no clear-cut answer, and I think those are always really interesting to explore, and it's one of the things I really love about vampire as well.
I think me the best horror and
Mhm.
individual human nature, but human nature on a societal.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know you haven't caught up yet, but in season 4 and episode 3, they definitely I love seeing all of the conversations that has sparked up around a similar sort of situation where everyone's like, "Well, I don't know if so and so is right or is this person right?" And it's not clear cut and everyone seems a little torn and it's brought such great conversation, which to me is the goal. I don't need someone to
Right.
agree with, it's like, "Oh, Eva was right," or whoever isn't. It's not about that. It's about the conversation people are having because of it.
Exactly. Yeah. So I have a couple more questions, but I want to remind all of our viewers that they can drop questions in chat, and I will ask them. So ask any of your appropriate questions, and we will throw them in at the end. Uh, so kind of touching back on gaming a little bit, you had mentioned growing up playing Dungeons and Dragons, father and
Yeah.
family. What is your favorite experience from like a specific session?
Hmm. Hmm. I I don't know that I would call it my favorite, but the most memorable was my first character death. Like, I can't
Mm-hmm.
ever forget it. Um, I must have been, like, 7 or 8 years old. I was playing the pre-made Lita the Rogue was the
Mm-hmm.
pre-made in the D&D edition at the time,
Yep.
and my brother was playing man, I don't remember his character's name, but it was the either the cleric or paladin at the time, but he was the one who was supposed to be in front fighting, tanking, and I remember, like, we were arguing, we could see that there was a creature inside, which was a displacer beast. They still give me, like anytime I see a displacer beast, I'm like, "Ah, you killed me, you killed Little the Rogue, oh my god." Like, I still remember us arguing and then me finally agreeing to go in first and I just, like, immediately died so quickly, and I was so upset, and we did the whole thing, like, we were using the mirror to, like, look around the corner, and, like, we were just on a roll as far as, like, problem solving the rest of the dungeon, and then to just die to a displacer beast, and it was just horrific, and I just remember it. I have the image of a displacer beast etched into my mind forever.
That's like getting through the entire dungeon, getting to a treasure chest, and it being like, "Oh, the mimic killed you." You're like,
Yeah. Yeah, and
"No,"
I don't know if we played after that. I was so I don't think I played with my brother again after that.
because you're like, "You killed me."
I was so scarred from it. I don't think we played D&D again after that first campaign. Oh, well.
Oh well, other games. What is what's your favorite tabletop RPG?
Oh, oh. I mean, it would probably have to be D&D just because it's my I don't know, it's hard to know if it's my favorite or if it's because I'm most comfortable in it because I just grew up with it.
Right.
Um, I can do anything in that world. No, I don't know. I love I haven't had a tabletop RPG I played where I didn't like it for some reason, except for it it's a lot easier for me to name what I dislike in RPGs as opposed to it's a lot like, for me, it's like, "Oh, I love all RPGs," except for, um, what's the system? I'm not a fan of, is it the Fate system? The one that's like pluses and minuses?
Yes, that's Fate.
I am not into that with like a burning fury for some reason. I played Call of Cthulhu, I think uses it. Um
No. Call of Cthulhu
Really?
uses, yeah, because Call of Cthulhu is my favorite game actually.
Oh.
Call of Cthulhu uses the basic role playing system, which is like the standard polyhedral set, but you roll the percentiles
Hmm.
instead of
Well,
d20s.
then we were playing like a Cthulhu game, but
Yep,
in the Fate system.
there is Cthulhu sets for.
And I detested it. I was so, I couldn't even like get invested in the story because I was so held back by these dice
I've
and
heard,
the dice system.
I've heard a lot of. I actually Fate is very polarizing. There's a lot of people either love it or hate it. From what I understand, I actually never played Fate. Interesting.
Mhm. I just never thought that, dice would bring such
It's a visceral emotion.
Yes, yeah, I would have never thought that, but sorry for hating on Fate. I mean, you can like it. It's just not for me.
That's absolutely fair. Um, Sprinkles the Dragon Cat actually asked both of us a question. What is your favorite movie? And I apparently have to answer, and I'm going to take so.
My favorite movie is Leon, the Professional.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
My favorite movie. Again, sad boys, like
Yep.
I'm telling you. That's my yep.
Yes, though.
Oh, it's so good. Jean Reno, Natalie Portman, Gary Oldman, like, it's so good, and it just thinking about it makes me sad, and if I listen to music from it, I'm immediately there again, and, I really it is my favorite movie. We've got a big poster in our place for it, like,
Nice.
right when you walk in, and, um, yeah, we have multiple art for Leon.
I now actually really want to rewatch that. I've seen it in a few.
You should. But if it wasn't Leon, it would be Princess Mononoke.
Yeah, also a fan. That's actually my favorite. That's my favorite anime film.
Yeah, it's
So,
my favorite Miyazaki, definitely animated film for sure.
oh yeah. And I'll try to keep this brief. My favorite my favorite movies, because I can't pick one, are Alien, The Thing, Event Horizon. Notice they're all horror and sci-fi. Those the Alien, The Thing, and Event Horizon are three of my favorite movies. Pretty much near the top.
Okay. I've only seen Alien from those.
Don't watch Event Horizon.
Okay.
And the thing is good because it's old enough that the special effects look
That's what you would
fake.
think. That's what you would think.
But I know like my wife can't watch it either, so I
Yeah.
yeah, don't watch either. And the Event Horizon, it would be traumatizing. So,
Right, yeah, mhm.
um, but those are two of my favorite. Those are three of my favorite films. And then someone asked, well, what version of D&D you grew up playing?
Um, I think it was the orange box. Let's see.
I th-
Let me see if I can find out.
I think that's third.
I think it was third. Let me just see what comes up when I put third.
Hello, Jason.
Oh, Jason, hi. How's it going? Yes, oh, well, I don't know, so many boxes, but it's the one
There
the
are.
adventure begins here. It has them bursting through the wooden
Mm-hmm,
doors. Um, Lita the rogue who I played was, like, right at the front.
mm-hmm.
Let me see, what does this say? So, dungeon master, yes, given for level 3 and higher. It came with all the pre-made 6 character sheets. It doesn't say what edition this is.
I'm pretty sure it was third. Someone in, yeah, a couple people in chat
Every
just said third.
people were okay, great. 3rd. That's the one. That's the one I grew up with, and I loved it. But I have loved every single edition of D&D. I even played D&D Next, and I was like, "I don't care, I like them all."
So you enjoyed fourth edition?
Yeah, yeah, I
Good.
was fine with it.
Thank you. I have to fight with people because I think fourth edition was it's not the best version of D&D, but it's my favorite version of D&D.
Oh, really?
Yes, because I think the system mechanics were they're like it's a masterpiece. I think it's the most well crafted. And it's just not what people expected from Wizards. They were like, "This isn't Dungeons and Dragons," and I'm like, "Well, no, it's different."
Well, I don't know. I grew up playing it, and for me, it's not about the mechanics, it's about the role playing, so
Absolutely,
I just and the character work, so I don't, it doesn't matter to me the system in which I can play those characters. Um, yeah.
absolutely. See if we had any other questions drop in, and see if I can think of anything else. What's your favorite vampire movie?
I love Interview with the Vampire. Um, I really liked, Alex and I watched Only Lovers Left Alive together
Yep.
to get the and it gave us, great Jasper Eva feels. We watched it after we had already done it, and we're like, "Oh my god, it's as if we were inspired by this here," and I didn't even I we I was like, I wish I had seen this beforehand, I had no idea, but yeah, I love Interview with the Vampire.
That's actually probably the one I've seen. Uh,
Yeah, I have watched it multiple, multiple times.
I want to make sure I'm gonna butcher this name. Nana Shimakoto asked if you could elaborate on the martial artist part of the introduction.
Oh, I've done martial arts since I was 5 years old as well. Um, I did a lot of different styles. I started in karate, um, but because I moved a lot, I had a lot of opportunities to start at new schools and try different forms, and there's so many of them that are very similar, it's interesting. You see all the similarities when you start taking different ones. Um, but yeah, I did karate and taekwondo, hapkido, and then a mix of, like, karate, jujitsu, taekwondo, and kung fu and tai chi, and then I would train in various weapons. I started with Okinawan weapons and then did more Chinese weapons like the monkey staff and court spear, and then right now I'm training in Tang Sudo. So
I
I just
actually
love martial arts.
I don't know what that last one is.
Yeah, it's basically like taekwondo and karate.
Oh, okay.
They have very, very, different, very slight changes in the, uh, forms. It's a Korean martial art, but it all of it tends to originate from Okinawa and then, went to different regions, and there's very small differences. So I'm learning those little differences now.
Nice. That's actually I like that approach. Different.
Yeah.
Neat.
Yeah,
Um,
although my favorite is probably kung fu, and at some point I'll get back to kung fu, which
nice.
is the one that's very different, and maybe it's because it's so different and so broad and, like, the movement range is all over the place, and, I really enjoy it.
That's what it was. I apologize that in the all of those things that you just mentioned, and I may have missed it. Was there a particular style of kung fu that you
Um,
specialized in or preferred?
yeah, I'm sure there was. I can't even remember what the name of it was. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't actually know because, we would often learn multiple styles at the school that I was at when I did kung fu, because we would do different styles of martial arts on different nights. It wasn't one school for one style. So we would do kung fu and tai chi on Thursdays and it would pull from different styles. Um, and then and then we would do hapkido and aikido on Saturdays, and, like, it was just we would just switch, which was amazing. I would love to have a school where it's a different style every day again, but yeah. Now you see why I let
Yeah.
Josephine do whatever she wants,
I was about to
Jason.
read that. um, there
Oh
was
my goodness.
one other question I wanted to ask, and it's kind of mixed in because I ended up jumping all over the place. Um, doesn't help. Oh, is there a tabletop RPG that you haven't played that you really want to learn?
Changeling.
So
I
Changeling is
really
really
wanna
cool.
play Changeling. I learned about Changeling. I think I'd heard, like, whisperings of it before LAbyNight, and then I heard more
Mhm.
about it as I was looking at World of Darkness, and I was like, "How has no one gotten me to play Changeling? Are you kidding? I wanna be a little fey creature." Like, I don't I just there's so much about it from what I've read that I really want to, explore, so,
Now, Changeling is a
yeah.
fantastic game. I've played The Dreaming, and I've read. I have the core book for Changeling the Lost, but
Mhm.
they're both amazing games. They're crafted. I definitely recommend them.
We can help with that? Yeah,
Yes,
I would
uh,
love to.
the Onyx Path can definitely help with that. And then I this is actually my last question. So, folks, if
Okay.
you have anything else you want to ask, oh wait, someone just said ask something. So I'll ask that one first. Is there anywhere you hope to be able to take Eva as a character? Something you want to explore with her, either from her past. I'm going to add on to your question. Sorry, because it's a good question. Either from her past or moving forward.
Um, well, see, I wouldn't wanna spoil because I would assume that if there was something I wanna explore that you'll see it explored on this show. Um, but something that would be really cool, that we haven't done yet, it would be really cool to do, what are they called? The flashback
hmm
episodes. I would love to go back into, like, Eva either pre-embrace or just post-embrace, like, that would be really cool to explore, but otherwise, with everything else with her character and where she's going, like, that's stuff that I'm on the track of what I wanna explore with Eva, so I just keep
Fantastic.
watching.
Now that's very exciting. I mean, I Eva's my favorite character on the show, so that's very exciting for me. Um, I won't
Oh my goodness.
not to feed your ego,
Oh my
but
gosh.
um,
I am so flattered. It surprises me.
it's actually even before you started playing her, I was like, "Ooh, I like this character." Just because I was also playing a Tremere at the time, so I was like, "Ooh, this is really cool."
Yeah. Well, Jason, like, just made this killer concept,
hmm
it's like this witch alone in Griffith Park, that's all Jason, like, he gave me the foundations of something that was cool to begin with. He said Vampire Galadriel. No one hears that and is like, "Oh,
Oh, that's
how boring,"
no thanks. I'm good. I mean, I would be like, I
Yeah.
will happily play that concept. I will figure it out.
Right. Exactly. So it was all like Jason had made such a strong foundation
Mhm.
for me to be able to jump off of, so I'm very thankful for that.
Fantastic. Uh, Marchosius, one of my partners at Gehenna Gaming, asked, "Who is your favorite storyteller played character that Jason plays?"
Oh, that's so hard. There's so many that I love. Um, I really love Fiorenza, which I think we all do.
Yes, we do.
I really love Gary Golden always as well. Um, and, who else? Um, I and honestly, for him, he is it's hard to say favorite, but I do like it, but I don't like it because I'm Eva, in character, but Jason is Strauss for me, and he plays him so perfectly when he puts on those glasses.
Oh,
It's like the fear that is struck into my heart is so immediate, and he says something, "I'm so scared." And Jason is just so good at any, SBC that he plays because he looks you in the eyes, like, and it's like he's peering into your soul when he does so. Um, there's, I mentioned this on my stream. There's a moment, and again, if you haven't watched the latest one, I won't say who, that way it's not, but there's like a
All
flirtation,
earmuffs.
a slight flirtation that happens, but it's with a character that Jason is playing. He was just like looking me straight into the eyes, and I just felt like I was like, "Oh my." Just like he's so committed to every single
Mhm.
NPC that he embodies that it's always like, "Oh, wow, I feel like very engaged." And I was like, "Oh my."
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Um, as someone mentioned Fiorenza, I have a goal, and I got to meet Jason at PAX Unplugged
Mhm.
last year, very very briefly because I was in the middle of running a game actually. But I need to get a recording of him saying like different characters' names. It's just like
Yes.
Victor, my boy, or like
Yeah.
whoever. And I just want it to like for just
Yeah.
different like text notifications.
Mhm.
So
Oh, that would be great.
I might have to hunt him down at Gen Con and get that.
Absolutely.
So I, we are wrapping. So thank you so much everyone who's joined us. If you drop a question right now, I will slip it in. But my final question for you, Josephine, thank you so much for joining us this evening, is where are there any other projects you have coming up that people can look forward to that you want to talk about? And where can people find you on?
Yeah, of course. Well, online, it's JCVIM. I know it's not easy to remember, but, that's my username everywhere on Instagram, on Twitter, on Twitch, what have you. There are my initials, so, no
Yep.
one ever takes them, so it's always available. That's where you can find me. As far as projects, some of the films that I mentioned earlier, like the Mortuary Collection, Scare Package, and Dear Mr. Brody will be coming out, I think, throughout this year.
Mhm.
And then hopefully next month, another little limited run RPG that I'll post on Twitter and everywhere else to keep an eye out for, but I can't share just quite yet.
Fantastic.
And thank you so, so, so much for having me, for even wanting to ask me all these things.
Of course. No, thank you so much for joining us, sharing a little bit about the origins of Eva and playing her and everything else that we got to chat about. It was a pleasure, and hopefully we will get to have you back on at some point in the future. I have one final question, unless
Okay.
someone drops one more in, which I haven't seen yet. But
Oh,
uh,
but yes, but also everyone should make sure to subscribe and follow World of Darkness's Twitch to watch LA by Night, 'cause that's what I'm currently on right now, is the season 4 of
yes,
LA by Night.
yes, do that, do that now. Um, when will we get to see you DM a game?
Oh, goodness. I have no idea. If the right people asked me, I would Jason told me that I should story tell a game.
Why I'm asking.
And and I think once when he said it, all of a sudden I was like, "Oh, should I? Maybe I should." That sounds I think I would have fun doing that. I think I would have fun storytelling a vampire game. Specifically vampire, there's so much role playing for me, I
Yeah,
don't have to I understand the mechanics. For me, I think the mechanics for vampire are fairly simple to grasp.
especially
But
fifth edition.
yeah, I wouldn't be too bogged down. It'd be easy to do so. So I would like, and as Jason has mentioned to me, I have messed up ideas, so
you should
it should.
you should definitely read more on the Bali. Trust me.
Okay, okay, I will. I will. Yeah, no, I think that would be nice to do. There are no plans in place just yet, but it'd be fun to do in the future for sure.
But we'll have to keep an eye out for that. Someone got slipped in with a short enough question that I'm going to ask it, and this is definitely our final one. Uh, but no, I lost it. Okay. The charity one shot that you hosted, is that still available online anywhere?
Oh yes, I believe that. So it's Fresno by Night. Which is the one shot that we did for, uh, International Myeloma Foundation. We raised, $12,000 that day, it was amazing, and we played this ridiculous game. It's got all of your favorites from LAbyNight, and Jason story told this ridiculous group.
It was
Um,
so good.
it's completely comedy and ridiculousness, and people could donate to have us switch character sheets at random, bring in canon LAbyNight characters. It is available, I believe it's highlighted. It was we did do our charity stream on the exact day that Twitch got doxxed as well. So
Yep.
it has some choppiness, it has some connection issues that there's nothing we could do about that, but it is still there. It's highlighted on my channel at twitch.tv/jcvim.
Okay. Which I have posted the link to just a few minutes ago, so you can find it there. Or just click on something. JCVIM. Excellent. Well, and if I remember correctly, at some point we're wearing a wig. Alex wearing it, and
Mhm, yeah, because we switched characters, so he turned into Genie. Genie who, like, spoke at a very high register.
actually I have to thank you because
It was terrible.
our our first stream was me going through character creation for V5, and you actually joined while you were working on her, and we
Oh,
were
that's who
talking
I was
about it
working
on
on.
stream.
Great,
Yep.
great.
Yep. Yeah, because
Yes. No,
people
yeah, you helped me think of some ideas, it was great.
it was fantastic. So that was very entertaining to watch come to life.
Thank you for that.
Not a problem. Anytime you want assistance with horrible character concepts,
Alright,
oh,
perfect.
happily help. Excellent. Well, again, thank you so much for joining us. As Josephine mentioned, you can find her at online in pretty much anywhere at JCVIM. Make sure you tune in turn in Friday nights to the World of Darkness Twitch channel for LAbyNight, where plays the wonderful Eva. And you can find us here on this channel that you're currently watching, unless you are listening to this as a podcast or watching it on our YouTube at Gehenna Gaming, gehennagaming.com, pretty much everywhere on the internet. So thank you again so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. Make sure you tune in for all the exciting things we have coming up, and maybe we will tweet or get some video at PAX East when we get to meet in person.
Yes, we should, let's do it.
Absolutely. So thank you so much, everyone, and we will catch you on. Oh, I got to think about this because I'm not streaming on Thursday. Saturday. We will catch you on Saturday for our next Cult Divinity Lost character creation session.
Mm. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.